All right. Welcome in. Welcome in. It looks like everything is showing well. So as you can see, we are going to be playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles today. Should be all kinds of fun. I think everything is looking well. So let's go ahead and get our intro and we'll hop right on in. So here we go. Greetings, friends, and welcome to Enigma Night Gaming. My name is Liara, and I will be your guide in today's adventure. Today, we are playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and in today's episode, we gotta find Sholmes, because he's got some splaining to do. Either he flat out lied to us, or something fishy is going on for sure. But without further ado, let's hop into the game. Alright, let's go find us Sholmes. Where is he going to be? Alright, so I think he's going to be at Madame Tuspel's, right? So let's go see if he's still there. Alright, 23rd of October. Madame Tuspel's. We have us a suspicious little inspector to find.
Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I'd like to turn on my heels and go straight home via the confectionery.
The confectionery? Oh boy. Hey, Quitcher, welcome in. Being scared makes you crave sweets. I can understand that.
I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere.
That's strange. He should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. Oh well, I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Are we sure he's not here? Let's see if he's maybe being a waxwork. He's definitely not here. Where did he go? Huh. That's so weird. He's not over here somewhere, is he? Okay. Odd. Why is it closed again? Ah yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side of them, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you?
The sign says it's the Madame Tuspel's special exhibit. It seems you have to pay extra to go inside.
I know, can you believe that? Pay more money as if we haven't been scared enough already?
It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo.
I mean, that's true. Alright, so, alright. He's obviously not here, so I guess we're gonna have to figure out where we can go next. Where would he possibly be? We can go check his home. Maybe he's at home. 23rd of October, Sholmes' suite. Is he hanging out here somewhere? He's not over here. What about over on this side? Where is he? He's not here either. What does Iris have on our board? This blackboard is where Iris scribbles down her latest ideas, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, she seems to have drawn a lot of little stick figures all lined up. Look.
Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say.
What? The little figures can speak?
All your questions would be answered if only you would read this month's Rants magazine.
So I'm the only one who can't make any sense of this. Hey, Toad, welcome in. Alright, so where exactly do we think Sholmes is? I don't know. Well, I mean, where could he possibly be? He's not at the experimentation stage. He's not at Madame Tuspel's. Could he be at the prison, maybe? Let's see. Well, he's writing some formulas on his board. 23rd of October. All right. Hello there. What's he doing?
Oh my! The whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations.
And he's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Mr. Naruto, and who is this young lady? Well, you see...
My name is Susato Mikatoba. I'm Mr. Naruto's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner. None of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all.
Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upset you.
I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. Oh no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Harebrain?
What have you been working on in your cell?
Yeah, I'm wondering what all that is. Oh, ha. You, mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wool was all I had to hand. And oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? No, actually, this is my autobiography. Your autobiography is formulas?
Your autobiography?
I mean, she's like confused like me. How I Was Diddled and Fiddled by Albert Helfer Harebrain. That sounds like a very bad title. I'm sorry, but I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations.
Really?
I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from next month, part 1, an odd birth, an odd upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled by the pair of them. Miasmin by that aloof engineer, Jubber. We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? We'll just fall asleep again? Alright, so let's talk to him. This morning's trial. Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Asmund, the kinesis machine. My hypothesis, even. I love how talkative Harebrain is, yeah. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public.
No, of course you didn't.
But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you're aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me.
Oh, Professor.
He believed in me this morning, you know, Barrack did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No, Barrack wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. Oh? Why is that? Why did he decide to do that? After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. Whoops. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barrack, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense.
And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor.
Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. but Barrick insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. Are we talking about the same guy here?
But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he?
Exactly? Like, something doesn't add up here. ... Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. Yeah, don't say. And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea, exactly? Oh well. Tell me about Mr. Asman.
Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start?
I'm sorry to say, that does seem likely, yes. I wonder what the end goal was here, though. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused. He was so emphatic. But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it.
As the machine was essentially a set decoration or some stage magic, it probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually.
But the scale of it, it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. The life of a scientist? It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Exactly. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer.
Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Exactly. So let's find out about him. Drebber the engineer. Is he an engineer or a magician or a swindler? It was about a year ago when Mr. Asman first brought Drebber to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genius scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation. I see. So he just likes using a bit of magic to make it work?
But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts?
I'm sorry, we only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop. And you didn't mention this earlier because why? What workshop? Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory where he constructed my great machine. I mean, that would be useful. We're like... Exactly! Why didn't you mention this before? That would have been super helpful. Enoch Drebber's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there. Oh boy. So tell me about the workshop. So you've been to Drebber's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see. So dramatic too, yep. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Drebber there. Well, yes, definitely, I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best. A special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. French, you say? We know some French people. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formulae and use that instead. What do you think, Mrs. Sato? Oud a machine for your next birthday?
I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that.
I mean, probably not.
I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor? You don't have a business card from Mr. Drebber, for example?
The man was clearly very cautious, Mrs. Sato. I'm sure he never would have... Aha! Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here, look. What?
Let me see that.
Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you? Oh boy, what do we got here?
Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address.
No? Oh well, I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Alright, so we'll check the card. Maybe we'll find something useful. Let's look at the court record at the card. So let's examine this. We've got some symbols here. There's like a plus and a minus. What is this? This dark smudge here.
I think perhaps it's machine oil.
Yes, possibly. Professor Harebrain mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain?
Yes, that's right. But more importantly, that it's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So, excuse me a moment.
You're gonna sniff the card?
Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all.
Don't worry. I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. Okay. Well. Alright. Anything else about the card? I think that might be it. Huh. Alright, well that's a bit unfortunate then. Where do we go now? And now, the place where we found the French person. I mean, we could go talk to Madame Tussbells. Hey, thanks for the follow. Serial designation? Let's go head over there. F. Okay, welcome in, F. Alright, do we have any extra information here? Still no Sholmes. Thanks for the follow. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. I don't know where we need to go now. Let's see. Was it the forensics laboratory? I don't think so. But maybe we could get her to look at the card. Possibly? I mean, we could give it a shot. Let's see. Are we able to talk to her? Or what are you doing at the moment? She's probably just keeping a close eye on things. So no impertinent Easterners think they can look around my office, of course. Are there such impertinent Easterners around? How terrible. Yes, you. Of course. She doesn't mince her words, Mrs. Sato.
I think perhaps it's time we left.
Alright, so this is not where we need to be, obviously. Alright, so where do we go? Well, let's go back to our office and talk to Susato. Let's see what she has to say. What do we do?
Do you know? I honestly thought I might never have the opportunity to return to Great Britain. And certainly not so soon.
It's funny, for the past 6 months, I haven't been able to work in court. Meanwhile, you've been raising a storm in the Supreme Court of Judicature back in Japan.
Please, Mr. Naruhodo, I may have been dressed as a man, but it was a very reserved performance.
So, what your father said in his letter about a Ryutaro takedown is reserved?
Well, anyway, I'm back here in this great capital now, and ready to assist you again in any way I can.
Thank you, Mr. Sato.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Naruhodo.
Alright, so no idea of what to do right now. I don't suppose that we'll find Sholmes hanging out in our office, will we? No, okay. It was worth a shot. Alright, so let's see where else we could go. We've checked the suite. Prosecutor's office. I don't think we need to go there. I guess let's go back to the experimentation stage and see if there's anything else we can say here. Is there anything else we can talk to you about? Oh, investigating the scene. Gina? We were actually hoping we could investigate the scene again. Alright, if it's around here, you can do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Ah, yes, Toby. Apparently, we can't look around on the stage now because the forensic investigation team are at work. Can't you do anything, Gina, in your capacity as Inspector Lestrade? Look, I'd like to help you out. But I'm just a trainee, ain't I? Ain't nothing I can do. When it suits you, yes. Well, is there anything else that we can examine around here? I don't know. We can look up. Is there anything else? What do they have over here? Is there anything useful?
What a shame that the symbolic landmark of the Great Exhibition has been damaged like that.
Yes, unfortunately, the birdcage crashed in the most prominent position possible. It's the gods giving us a warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam and not cut corners with instantaneous kinesis.
But imagine what might have happened if the birdcage had landed in a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse.
How is that a birdcage? So, it is, this actually is what they call it, the birdcage. So, I don't know, it's just, that's just the name they have given it. But, yeah, that is what actually crashed through the tower.
So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise.
Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. I did just say it was a warning. It's something, right? Man must travel under his own steam, or next time bird cages will rain down on all of you.
Your faith is much stronger than I realized.
Well, how do you think I passed the entrance exam for UMA University? It wasn't by studying alone. Oh boy. Alright, so we gotta figure out where we're supposed to go then. Do we have anything we can present to Gina? I don't know that we do. We've got the card. Maybe what happens if we try to present the card? Probably nothing. But we can try it. Let's see what happens. About this, Gina? Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I only know A to E, so I ain't too much bleeding trouble.
Ah, actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important.
How come? There's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all.
It turns out that this is very high quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently.
You don't say. Let's have a whiff then. Is she gonna smell anything? You sure? I don't smell nothing. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right, you mean Toby. Oh, that's a good idea. Toby could smell it because he has a very good sense of smell. His sense of smell is so good he can track people over the oceans, can't he?
Professor Harebrained informs us that this unique oil is unique to Mr. Drubber's workshop.
All right, Toby, go for it. He's smelling it. And then he's gonna hop down and run. You got the scent, Toby? I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean if he follows this scent of the oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy cove's workshop?
That's right. And that's exactly what we were hoping.
Alright, then we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. What? Wait, when did you... Once a pickpocket. If I can lead everyone to that Jubber's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week.
Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted.
Poor Gregson. I mean, he's going to France anyways, right? So what's it matter? Alright, then, oh no, leave it to me. Sorry? We're gonna going after that dodgy engineer cove right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh, well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets it in the neck. It'll be the boss. Poor Gregson. Again. Alright, we'll take a break for the ads. And as soon as they get finished, then we will continue on. Like, I didn't even think about Toby, to be honest. So I'm kind of glad that we just kind of accidentally stumbled on that. Because, yeah, hopefully he'll lead us to that new location. Maybe Sholmes will be there, because we definitely got to find Sholmes and get him to explain what he knows about this whole business with the Hound of the Baskervilles. Like, that's just, I'm so curious how that's gonna all tie in, and like if Kazuma is going to be the assistant. Like, there's just so many questions I have. We'll redeem our hydrate now. But yeah, it's just, it's gonna be interesting seeing it's gonna be interesting seeing how this all resolves itself, because I think there might be one more case after this, and that should be the one that ties everything in both games together, if I had my guess. Like, that's my theory. So I'm trying to piece together what we have so far. The only thing that I feel pretty sure about is that Van Zeek's assistant, I feel, is Kazuma. Now, how did he not die? Why did Sholmes lie? That's the main thing. Because Sholmes was the one who checked on his vitals on the ship where we assumed he was dead. And why were we put through this whole trial if he wasn't dead anyways? Like, it was a whole sham thing. And so something just super suspicious is going on with that. I don't really know what the deal is, but we'll have to figure it out as soon as we can locate him. Maybe we'll be able to come up with some kind of answers somewhere. But it looks like the ads are just about over, about 15 more seconds or so, and then we'll be able to continue on in our investigation. All right, we are almost done. Let's see. All right. Okay, so it looks like everybody should be back now. Hopefully the ads are finished. Let us continue on our journey. All right, Toby, what'd you find? Alrighty, Toby, got that oil set, have ya? Come on then, boy. See ya later. Oh boy. Hopefully she finds it.
I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop.
Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. I mean, that's true. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. We could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber.
I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful. You're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit.
Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture.
Alright, so hopefully we will actually find him there this time. Let's head on over. Alright. We're finally back here to Madame Tuspel's. Okay.
Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home. Via the confectionery, of course.
Susato-san is really after something sweet today, isn't she?
Eek!
What's the matter?
Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that waxwork. I'm quite sure it wasn't there before.
Is it Sholmes? It is Sholmes.
It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail.
Aha!
What is it?
Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself.
Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee.
Oh, yes. Hello again. It's Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs.
You don't mean...
But yes, the mystery is solved already.
Wow. Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough.
So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties.
Yes.
His habitual duties?
Adios.
Do not disturb.
Are we not going to be able to talk to him? Poor Susato-san, she looks very perplexed. We'll have to explain it to her. Alright, let's see if we're able to disturb him after all.
We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again. But where is he?
Don't turn around, Susato. I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually.
Oh. What do you...
Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I. The world-famous great detective and waxwork, Sherlock Sholmes. Is Madame Tuspel's a witch? I don't know. Maybe. She's like super shocked. She's passed out. Oh my goodness. Susato-san. Susato-san. Oh my goodness. He shocked her unconscious. Gotta love it. Oh, he's looking all dejected. My most humble apologies. The dance he was doing.
I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment via London.
Oh boy. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not of questionable street food quality.
I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes?
Merely a secret identity, you understand. Though the case is largely solved now.
Largely solved?
We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume. Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today for that matter. Poor guy. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So, how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? I wonder.
Oh yes, it's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet.
This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. Which telephone, right? That's amazing! Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event.
Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no?
Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive.
But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary?
He's like, why did you point this out to me? A fact I must ask you to keep from Madame Tuspel's at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street after all. Poor Iris. If she's just as hungry as Sholmes. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Yes. You got some splainin to do about that. But first, let's ask about Enoch Drebber. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh?
Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine.
A swindler and an engineer? Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance at least, I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. I think we have a picture of him, but let's ask him about Kazuma's death first. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Well,
Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder.
You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body.
Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Ashogi. You're quite sure? Why does the inspector look so sus?
He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure it was Kazuma-sama.
Oh boy.
You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead.
Come on now. Fess up. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all? Ah, priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruto? No. I could believe that the crewmen present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes. Come on. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. Really? It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. Wow. Alright, let's see. Do we have a picture of Enoch Drebber? I feel like we did. Yes. Okay, so let's present this to him, right? Okay, so, are we able to present it to him? Yes. Okay, so let's present the photo. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print?
It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek.
Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive? Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. But you're not going to tell us why, are you?
What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden.
Is he somehow tied into the whole case with Kazuma? I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruto. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned. And I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh, yes, the professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings. That's a special one-time only price, you understand. What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor?
Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone.
The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are we going to go see it? Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need look only at my expression to ascertain if this is a seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you. That's the point. Exactly, that I agree.
Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings.
Gratefully received. Now you can buy some food, I guess? So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Oh boy. Well then.
Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit.
Indeed, indeed. What lurks behind the curtain? Through those heavy curtains at last. Oh boy. Alright, let's see if we can examine behind it. Here we go. 5 shillings we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it?
No. We could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills.
Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands or chip-loving inspectors.
Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit. Alright, so what do we have back here? 23rd of October. Madame Tuspel's special exhibit. Oh boy. You're missing a head, sir.
Oh dear. I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here.
Miss Sasato, I say we turn on our heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already.
True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. Yeah, you seem to be missing a head. We paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of that great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place.
This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said that the case was largely solved.
We're still missing the head? Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there be a clue about the engineer here, didn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we?
Yes, we will get what we paid for.
Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble? Oh boy. Alright, so let's start examining this. Who is this character?
This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real.
It seems to be a young man in a white overcoat.
And he has a large shovel in his hand too.
Look, is he grave robbing? Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. Alright, he's got a camera here. What's this here?
Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera.
A camera, but it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? What's the number on his uniform? Okay. I'm very curious about this exhibit.
I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera?
I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film. Number 58. We'll check all that out in just a moment.
We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think.
Oh, we're just gonna take the camera? Awesome.
By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken.
What's the photographic plate?
It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look.
You should see yourself, Susato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Alright, we'll look at that in just a moment. Let's see if there's anything else that we should pay attention to. There's this light. That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Kochin paper? Lantern? Actually, is it? Kokin? Kochin? Chochin? Probably Kokin, I guess. Lamp, lantern, Kokin? I don't know.
And the point is, it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this. Well, I certainly couldn't do it.
I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. Oh, yo, babies. Alright. Anything else about you? What about what you're carrying? You're carrying a walking stick? Oh, it's the shovel.
What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth was the man doing with a shovel in the graveyard in the middle of the night?
Miss Sasato?
Yes?
That's a spade, isn't it?
No, it's a shovel.
No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade.
We've been through this, Mr. Norohodo. It's a shovel.
No. Although, we haven't considered trowels. Shovels or spades?
We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement.
So we're going to bury the hatchet? It's a shovel or a spade. It's not a hatchet. You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. Spades or shovels? A spade, I guess, is a type of shovel. I think that's everything, right? I don't think there's anything else to examine on him. All right, so before we continue to investigate more, let's check out this camera. All right. Open it up and look.
What a wonderful machine.
You really love contraptions like this, don't you?
Oh, yes. Anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible.
Almost irresistible, surely?
Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart.
Yeah, that does look like blood, doesn't it? That's worrying.
Yes, Father tells the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch.
I guess that's one way to do it. Poor Professor Mikadova. Alright, so let's check out the red stain.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
What is it?
On the bellows, just here. There seems to be some very dark red stains.
It's not that scary to be in a graveyard. Yes, you're right. It looks like blood, actually. Whose blood, though?
Oh my.
I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. All right, so we do have some blood on it. But why was this part of the exhibit, I wonder? All right, so let's see. Can we open the back and see what was, what picture was taken? All right. Oh, look, the cover came open.
Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see.
I don't see a plate. Is something wrong?
There is no plate. It's been removed.
Yeah, exactly. What a pity. But I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we'd never have found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway.
Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course.
Poor Susato-san, she looks devastated. Alright, still, though, makes one wonder. Alright, so I think that might be about it on the camera. Alright, we can always come back and look at it more if we need to. Let's check out this guy.
This must be the killer, the fiend known as the Professor.
Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tussville said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood.
The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place.
I know, it looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. It's the Headless Horseman, guys. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. Alright, so this is where the head would go, obviously.
So this is the condemned man.
Yes, the so-called professor. So his tag is matching the gravestone.
Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost.
Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Miss Susato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's metal fitting for it, see?
Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it.
That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it?
Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum.
And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? I'm sure there was. There's going to be some kind of clue on the head, I bet. Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. And there's something caught just inside the convict's jacket there. It looks like a piece of broken glass, and quite a big piece, too.
It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say.
Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder?
I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength.
Well, why?
Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area.
So,
Such as a big building, for example.
is this glass from the Crystal Tower? Was this the body that they found? I'm starting to wonder. Oh, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken, too. Is that a pun? Absent-minded? Yeah. I didn't even think about that. He's absent-minded because he has no head.
You don't mean?
Exactly. The Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. Was this body somehow used in that exhibit? Was it the one that was thrown through the Crystal Tower?
But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxworks jacket?
It makes you think, doesn't it? All right, so I think we're talking about even bigger of a scam than we thought. Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discover this fragment of glass here in the waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? I don't think so. Oh, man. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. What else do we got? I think that's just about everything with this guy. Oh boy. What's this gonna say? It doesn't matter if they're here in Britain or in Japan. Graveyards are scary.
Now I come to think of it, this is the first time I've seen a British grave. According to what I've read, the custom in Britain is to bury the dead as they are without cremation.
What? But if you do that, you might accidentally bury people while they're still alive.
I'm not sure that would be worse than accidentally incinerating people while they're still alive.
I mean, she's not wrong. I think we can both agree it's best not to be still alive when our time comes then.
And what am I to say to that?
Oh, man. All right, I think that's everything here. I mean, we looked at this person. I don't know why it's letting us look again. But I think we're good here. The owl is weird. Yeah, it's got some weird glowing lights. But we can't examine it. All right, let's see. We can look at that piece of glass. We'll resume as soon as the ad break is over. So what are we thinking? I'm thinking... Okay, so my thinking is that they used a waxwork to drop out of the balloon. Or whatever they somehow catapulted. I think the waxwork was in the hot air balloon. They used the arrow to bust the balloon. It fell through the Crystal Tower, and then the real guy was lowered through the trap door. And it was a waxwork, so it looked so realistic that they just assumed it was a corpse. That's what I'm thinking. That would be super interesting. Maybe it was completely related to this case. It was stolen purely for this purpose. Now, why is the head missing? That makes me wonder, was the head supposed to look a lot like Mr. Osmond? Is that why it's missing? Because he looked very similar? I'm starting to wonder. All right. So we should be back now, I think. Looks like we're back. All right, let's go ahead and examine this broken piece of glass and see if there's anything about it, right? Oops. Is there anything about this that we can see? There's this side here. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide.
Yes, I've never seen anything like it.
If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin.
There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruto, as you well know.
Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely.
Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure.
Alright, so yeah, I think that's where this is from. I definitely am starting to see a connection between the waxwork and the accident. So I think in the third balloon, I think they put the waxwork in it and then shot the balloon, and then the waxwork is what fell through the machine. That seems to make the most sense to me, and kind of explains to me why Mr. Asman would have been okay with this, because he's probably still alive just fine. Alright, so, let's see. Can we... I'm not sure. Maybe we need to examine this guy again. I don't know if there's anything else. Let's see. Is there something else here? Have we missed something? Let's see if there's anything else that we've missed. Anything at all. So far, I'm not seeing anything. We've got this symbol here. We examined that. Is there anything about his coat? No. We examined this. We examined his spade. Anything else? I think that might be it on this guy. I'm not sure what else we would examine. Wait, what is this? I can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just...
Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruto?
I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Oh, are we gonna get to see the exhibit? See his face? What did we do? What?
Oh, what on earth? How can...
I don't believe it. A black monocle?
Mr. Naruto, is it possible that this man is...
Yes? What? It's Enoch Drebber?
The color of his hair is different, but...
It's unmistakably him? What in the world? Indeed it is. That's our clue. Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head tout de suite, as the madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. Oh, the puns. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Alright.
Do you know, though, something about this room is strange.
Strange? What do you mean? I mean, the whole room is strange.
Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not?
Indeed they are, Mr. Sato. Do go on.
And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one...
Yeah, seems a bit odd.
This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it?
I think it's time I educated you a little. about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Oh boy. Well, do tell, the resurrecting convict. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, every one being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies.
Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful.
After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? So you mean that the professor's identity? As you've surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. Objection, exactly. However, that was not the end of the affair.
Oh.
The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. It came back to life, you say? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a witness? But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen. Oh man, this just keeps getting weirder and weirder. Tell us about Enoch. So this waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old.
It's so horrifying.
Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him. His hair is completely white. The secrets are all rolling in, yes? For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tuspel's.
I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place.
It looks like he was grave robbing.
In a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night.
Yes, what was he up to? Was he trying to find an eye for his monocle? I don't know. What weird thing was he doing? Following the execution, what happened? The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Okay, so this is how it's starting to tie in now. We're starting to see it. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, a preposterous parlor tale.
But why did people stop believing it?
Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution.
No. But that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers.
Or it's a big scam. That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. That's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. So interesting. Ah! What the bleeding Noro Odo? What have you gone and done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Iris, and she said this is where you'd be, so...
Gina, not so loud in the museum.
Madam Tespels would have you take a position as a waxworker if you are not careful. I think there might be more pressing concern. I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so...
All right, Gina, we understand, but please put down the gun.
What's she so upset about? Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found that dodgy cove's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep. Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag, so come on. Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out.
Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once.
Alright then, see ya there. Oh boy. Oh man. You go, don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place in the exhibit over there.
Oh dear, someone is feeling sorry for himself.
A little bit. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes, you're coming. Your words heart me, I must say, but if I were to shirk my duties here, Madam would have me pay monetary recompense, and Iris's dinner plate would be... Forget that, I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. Oh boy, no offer to share the cost for Mr. Sholmes then.
I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you, Mr. Sato. Right, let's go. Oh boy. Man. You know what this means, though? This is where we're going to take a pause. This is a perfect cliffhanger. What are we going to find in Enoch Drebber's workshop? I can only imagine, but we will investigate that in the next episode. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. I wonder what kind of theories you're coming up with how this case is playing out. I'm very curious to see what we will discover in the workshop. But if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. If you want to watch live, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/Liara27. I have my schedule posted in the about and in the description. And if you want to see which games we're playing each day, I post them on x.com/Liara27. And I hope you join me in the next one. Until then, guys, bye. All right, I'm going to give it a little save here. That was amazing. I'm loving this so much. It was awesome. All right, did we, I think that was the last one we did. We're going to have to go all the way up to the top now and start all over again. Oh, wait, no. Okay, this is where we're at. There we go. Okay. Now, let's see. Now we'll head back to the title. We just saved it. We don't need to save it again. Alright. We did it, guys. It's amazing. And this is going to be where we are going to call it today, guys. Thank you so much, everybody who hung out today. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. And I hope you're looking forward to the next installment, which if you want to follow this particular story, we'll be doing this again next Saturday. But of course, we will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. We will be playing some, let's see, we're going to be playing Riven and also Unheard. So we started Unheard a couple of weeks ago, the DLC, and we might be finishing it up tomorrow. We'll just have to see. And then Riven we have been doing for the past couple of weeks. It's been a lot of fun. And let's see who we can raid today. Let us see. I am looking to see who all is on. There are a lot of people on, my goodness. Who do we want to raid? So many people. Let's see. Oops. Turn that off. It's not what I wanted to do. Alright, who are we gonna... Anyways, I think I lost my train of thought there. That was interesting. It was interesting. It was amazing. Let's see. We, tomorrow the stream is at 3 p.m. Central, so that's when we'll be doing that. What do we have here? Let's see if we can find somebody who is also playing this. Let's see. It didn't look like anybody is doing this game. That's amazing. Alright, well, we'll just have to raid someone else. Let's just go ahead and raid Jam Toast Egg. She is playing Witchit. So we'll just go say hi. And we've visited her lately, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and say hi. And I hope I will see you guys back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time for some Ribbon and some Unheard. So thank you again, everybody who joined me today. Thank you, F, for subscribing or for following. Appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. So until then, bye.